All right, this is a video that will review additional exercises. Now, this is in 7.4, which is another textbook, but in our textbook, it's called 4.5. All right, we're going to solve each problem using systems of equations. And what I want to go through is how to get the equations from the English statements. The sum of two numbers is 56. X, one number, plus the other, the sum of two numbers is 56. Their difference is 4. So one number minus the other is 4. And I would suggest you solve that by elimination. Again, we're not featuring that part now, but these are the answers. The sum of two numbers is 44, the very same thing. First number plus second number, 44. Now this one's a little different. The second number is 5 more than twice the first. So first number, second number. So the second number is 5 more than twice the first number. Here I would use substitution. The difference between two numbers is 16. All right, now here what I'm saying is let x equal the larger number, y will be the smaller number. Now we know the larger minus the smaller is 16. The difference between two numbers is 16. 5 times the smaller, now we said the smaller number was y, 5 times y equals the second number, which is twice the first. Let's get the right one here. Okay, here we are. So the difference between the two numbers is 16. 5 times the smaller, which is the y, 5 times y, which is what I have here, is the same as 8 less than twice the larger number, which we're saying x. So this one's getting a little more complicated, and I would suggest that you set up a code like this, identifying your numbers. Okay, number 4 here. 2 records and 3 tapes costs $31. This is straightforward. 2 records plus 3 tapes equals 31. 3 records, right there, and 2 tapes cost 29. There are your 2 equations. And again, you might say, well, what method? Well, again, substitution wouldn't work here. So you're going to probably have to multiply this one by, let's say, a -3, and this one by a +2. And one of them will cancel out. All right, well, let's go up a little bit now. At school, 2 photographic packages are available. Package A contains one class picture and 10 wallets for this. Package B contains two class pictures and 15 wallet size for this. So what will your equations be? Well, one class picture, X is the class picture, Y is the wallet sets. So one class picture, 10 wallets, 19. Two class pictures, 15 wallet sets, 31. So there's a 1 there. So theoretically, you could use substitution. And we have it over there, the answers. All right, number 6. A broker invests a total of this much in two different stocks. So X plus Y are your two different stocks. He invested this much. One at 6%, the other at 9%, and he earns this much interest. We have done some like this before. There are your two equations. All right, here we're looking at the price of admission for a concert was $9 for adults, $4 for children. Altogether, this many tickets were sold, and the resulting revenue was this. So the number of adult tickets plus the number of children's tickets equal the total tickets. $9 per adult ticket gave you the money taken in from adults. $4 for each children's ticket. Number of or amount of money taken in from children's sales gave you this total. I would suggest substitution, but you could also use elimination. And there are the answers over there as well. Okay, Mike made a trip in 40 hours. Joe made the same trip in 30 hours because Joe was traveling 6 miles per hour faster. How many kilometers was the trip? Well, the distance is the same here. So we're going to use distance equals distance. And distance is rate times time, rate times time. So here's our time, there's our rate, there's our rate, or I should say 30 hours is time. And this guy, in order for this to be an equation, you have to add the 6 hours to this side. And you only have the one variable. Now, when you solve for R, you get 18. Now, to find the distance, you have to take the rate times the time. That gives you the distance. So here is where your initial equation doesn't give you the answer. It gives you a piece of what will be used to get the answer. Now here the hiking club hiked to a state park at 4 miles per hour. They got a ride back to town in a truck that went 20 miles per hour. If the total trip took 18 hours, how far was it from the town to the park? Well, this one is a little tricky. And we're saying that the first part of the trip we're going to call A, and that was your trip first part. And the second part on the bus, that would be B. And we know that A plus B equals 18. And we know that 4 times the time, which is 4A, plus, well, that part of the trip, that was a certain amount of distance, equals 20 miles per hour of the second amount of time, which is our T2 up here. So this one, again, you may have to study. It's a little more challenging. But A plus B is your total time. This is the first part of the time. You went 4 miles per hour. This was the second part of the time. You went 20 miles per hour. And that works out. And then once you get your answer, by the way, you have to multiply it by one of these. Okay, I just solved these. I used substitution, and I got B equals 3. So 3 times 20 gave me my 60 miles. That was how far they were from the town to the park. Okay, now again, in some cases, a picture would have been very useful for you here as well. When Lucy swims with the current, she swims 18 kilometers in 6 hours. Against the current, she can swim only 14 miles, 14 kilometers in the same time. How fast can Lucy swim in still water? What is the rate of the current? Okay, now so what I did here is setting this up, her rate with the current. This was a rate together times 6 gave 18. Her rate against the current, which slowed her down, times the same amount of time, 6, resulted in swimming 14 miles. Now, when I solve this, I got 2 2/3 kilometers per hour, and the rate of the current was 1/3 of a kilometer per hour. The textbook was giving Lucy's rate at 8 and the current is 1, so I have indicated that that's incorrect. And just look at it. If she goes 8 miles or 8 kilometers with the current in 6 hours, that's not going to be 18 hours. I'm sorry, 18 kilometers. So that's way off. So again, they made an error. A similar thing now, although this rate was correct. When a plane flies into the wind, it can travel this many miles or kilometers in 6 hours. When it flies with the wind, it can do the same distance in 5 hours. So there's the distance is the same. Here, 6 hours against the wind, 5 hours with the wind. And again, it's the same type of equation. I would use the elimination method. No, I guess I can't use it there because it's different times. But whatever method you choose, here are the answers. Again, we're just looking here for strategy in setting up the problems. Okay, going over these quickly, although not too quickly. Druggist has one solution that is 10%, another that is 50. They want to get something in the middle. And how much do they want to get? 100. So A plus B equals 100. So 10% of the A, 50% of the B will give us a N mixture, 20% of 100. There are your two equations. Here, very similar, 20% alcohol, 60% alcohol. Wants to get 100. So A plus B, 100. Then 20% of A, 60% of B equals 52% of 100. Now, for these, basically, you're going to have to pause the tape. If you're really studying them, I've made a picture. You want to try to understand what's there and convert what is there into your algebraic equations, your systems of equations. So here we have a perimeter. There's our perimeter of a rectangle. 2 times the height, which they're calling h, is 3 centimeters more than the base. So 2 times h is equal to the base plus 3. There's one equation. Find the length and height of the base. And we'll use a modified form of the perimeter formula. 2 lengths plus 2 widths equal the perimeter. Well, here 2 heights plus 2 base equal the perimeter. So these are our two equations. Remember, this is the letter H. Looks a little bit like an N, but it's an H. Okay, here the perimeter of a rectangle is 58. The base is 5 more than 3 times the height. The base is 5 more than 3 times the height. And then you're also going to use this formula. Actually, the one I should use was up here. All right, well, there you go. This was this perimeter. This formula is very similar. All right. Looking at the problems here. The sum of the legs of a right triangle is 17 inches. The shorter leg is 2 more than, the longer leg is 2 more than twice the shorter. The hypotenuse is 13 inches. Find the length of each leg. So here, if you made a picture, you see you're only dealing with the legs, not the hypotenuse. So you don't need this number at all. So the short leg plus the long leg is 17. The longer leg, which is B, is 2 more than twice the shorter. These are your equations, and you could use substitution. All right, Todd has 27 coins in his bank, all dimes and quarters. So dimes plus quarters is 27. All the coins have a value of this. How many of each coin does he have? Well, what are dimes worth? 10 cents. Quarters worth 25. And there's the sum. I would divide it, multiply everything by 100, get rid of my decimals, and I could use either elimination or substitution. Two angles are complementary. That is, their total is 90 degrees. So there it is. A plus B equals 90. The larger angle is 6 less than 5 times the smaller. Well, make A the smaller, B the larger. So the larger is 6 less than 5 times the smaller. Wow. So again, if you catch on to a number of hints they're giving us in the problem, whatever method. All right, acute angles. Acute angles are angles less than 90 degrees of a right triangle are complementary. Well, that's true because they will be less than 90 degrees, but together A plus B is 90. And the larger angle B is 1.5 times the smaller. You could have this as 3/2 or 1.5. Use substitution. Now we're getting to supplementary angles. The larger angle is 15 less than twice the smaller. The sum of supplementary angles is 180. So the larger is 15 less than twice the smaller. Okay, I've kept this under 22 minutes. A lot of stuff going on and a lot of thought had to go in. Now on your test, you're only going to have 1 or 2 questions, but you want to develop a strategy to get to the answers.